Hey everybody, Mike Slifer here in the First Alert Forecast Center. We are tracking some rain headed in our direction. We're talking about the longer term pattern as we approach the end of October, the start of November. And that also means we're talking about what happens to our sunsets because daylight saving time will come to an end too. Let's begin though with what's going on right now. First Alert live radar scanning, and within the state's borders, clear and dry. We're starting to pick up on some of the shower activity that's moving into the lower Hudson Valley. This is actually a pretty big difference than even 20 minutes ago. So those showers are steadily marching east and closer to us. Here's a loop over the last 6 hours. The leading edge of showers moving into the lower Hudson Valley, but the bigger story is told when we zoom out a bit here. We're watching rain take shape right now in parts of Maryland, lifting to the northeast, and that is what's eventually going to move through here. We also see some downpours behind that moving through, say, like Morgantown, West Virginia, that area, and headed in our direction. So we are expecting the cloud cover to thicken and lower as the night goes on, and eventually we'll see rain work its way into the state. Temperatures basically holding steady where they are right now. Rain chances really ramp up after midnight tonight. First Alert Futurecast pretty on board with that idea too. By 11 o'clock, we might be tracking some isolated showers in Connecticut, but all things considered, mainly dry. However, things start to change. 1, 2 in the morning, we'll be tracking rain, maybe even some downpours in the mix. Some of the newest data suggesting that perhaps we'll see a few downpours, although in general, we are expecting things to be not quite as heavy. So the rain continues through 4 o'clock in the morning, through about 6 o'clock in the morning, and it may intensify as it moves east, but it will be exiting Connecticut as we get into the heart of the morning commute, which is great news. We really don't expect that much of an impact tomorrow outside of things being just a bit damp. Now, by 10 o'clock in the morning, maybe an isolated shower sneaks through, and even in the afternoon, we can't rule out an isolated shower. But all things considered, things will be drying up as the day goes on. Increasing sunshine, and out of this entire system, we're looking at maybe a half inch, a quarter of an inch to a half inch of rain. Some locally higher amounts coming in just a little bit higher than a half inch, but certainly not the drought-busting rain that we really could use. However, given the deficits continue to grow, we'll take anything we can get. Our deficit for the Hartford area, month to date, over an inch since September 1st, over 2 inches, and we have a shrinking surplus since the start of 2025. But if we go to Bridgeport, it's a bit of a different story. Not only do we have deficits for the month and the season, actually pretty similar numbers to those for the Hartford area, but if we go back to the start of the year, we are running a huge deficit. So we really need that rain, especially along the shoreline. Now, looking a little bit longer term here, as we get from, say, October 29th through November 3rd or 4th, we are looking ahead to wetter conditions, perhaps. These shades of green indicating the higher likelihood that the pattern actually becomes a bit more unsettled as we approach the end of the month. And of course, smack dab in the middle of that date range is Halloween, followed up by daylight saving time coming to an end. On Saturday, November 1st, the sun will rise at 7:24, set at 5:44. On November 2nd, Sunday, sunrise 6:25 in the morning, sunset 4:43. So the clocks will go back an hour at 2 a.m. on Sunday, November 22nd. Pardon me, November 2nd. That is less than 2 weeks from where we are right now. Looking live on our iCam here in Rocky Hill, we can't see any stars behind the Hartford skyline because the clouds have begun thickening up. Our iCam view here in Middletown also looking a little bit cloudier overhead, but where we can still see some stars is in Mystic. This a little bit more visible right now. This is a live look over the Bascule Bridge, the Mystic River. Somebody out walking right now. Honestly, a pretty mild night. There is a little bit of a wind at the shoreline. Sustained speeds between, say, 5 and 15 miles per hour. Not quite as much inland, but we still have this southerly wind out ahead of the approaching front. It was certainly a bit breezy this afternoon. It'll be a bit breezy tomorrow behind the front, too. That is helping to keep temperatures up, though. 60 in Bridgeport, 63 in New Haven. We're at 49 in Torrington and Tolland. Putnam, 51 in Willimantic, 55 in Windsor Locks right now, 57 in Chester, and 54 in Norwich. We do expect temperatures to drop as the night goes on. Some upper 40s throughout northern parts of Litchfield County, otherwise closer to 50 degrees or so. New Milford, Woodbury, perhaps even staying in the mid-50s. We're expecting, say, low and mid-50s from the greater Hartford area out into the quiet corner through Tolland and especially into Windham counties. And then along the shoreline is where we could see temps near, say, 55 or so, and inland sections of our southern four counties a little bit lower than that. But all things considered, certainly a mild night for this time of year. Typically, our low temperature would be closer to 40 degrees, so just to put things into perspective. You do need to send your kids out to the bus stop tomorrow morning with umbrellas. They'll need them just for the start of the day, though, because recess will likely be outside. And for the ride home, we are expecting temperatures to climb back into the mid-60s. And that means that, again, a seasonably warm day with some sunshine. It's going to feel quite nice out there. Wind gusts 20 to 25 miles per hour through the afternoon, and we may not see those gusts subside right after sunset, but we do expect them to die down a little bit as we get closer to the start of the day on Thursday. And speaking of Thursday, maybe the better of the 2 days to get some raking done. Now, on Wednesday, we're saying poor conditions. That's tomorrow. And the reason for that is because of the morning rain. It'll make the leaves all wet, which makes them heavy, more difficult to move. If you're raking, perhaps it helps a little bit if you're leaf blowing, but you will be battling wind gusts too, so that breeze could undo some of your hard work. Now, on a Thursday, we're saying fair conditions, gusts around 20 miles per hour, and no rain expected. So things will dry up pretty nicely, and that is going to lead to certainly some better conditions for actually moving those leaves and getting rid of them, bringing them to the curb, whatever you may do. We do still expect the wind gusts between, say, 15 and 20 miles an hour or so to ramp up during the day on Thursday. Temperatures on Thursday are still expected to make it into, say, the upper 50s and low 60s, which is pretty close to normal for this time of year. It's Friday when our normal high actually falls to 60. So normal high tomorrow and Thursday, 61 degrees. When we're talking temperatures, say, around 60, that's about what we would expect this time of year. Given the rain tonight into the morning hours, we are expecting low pollen counts the next couple days too. Really low ragweed counts tomorrow, Thursday. Maybe a little bit higher Friday, but even then, really not looking too bad. What's looking great currently is the foliage near peak, northeastern, northwestern parts of the state, moderate to high foliage elsewhere. We'll show you some pictures that were sent in to us here to highlight some of the foliage across Connecticut. We've been tracking, of course, over the last several weeks, the foliage. This has taken a little bit of time here to load. So while this loads in, there it is. All right. So Jim Meehan here showing what is around about peak foliage in Salisbury near Twin Lakes. You've got a few more days to enjoy this, maybe into the weekend, but by the time the first weekend in November rolls around, once we get past Halloween, it's certainly not going to look like that anymore. Steve Franklin snapped this beautiful picture in South Glastonbury. We have some nice reds in the trees, and of course, everything's looking great with the sunshine, too. It's nice to see these pictures up against a blue sky. Our next picture here, taking a second to load in. Now, the reason that the trees turn colors in the fall, in case you're wondering, little science lesson here, is due to the breakdown of chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is what actually allows the trees to go through photosynthesis to produce their own sugar and energy in the spring and summer. And as that chlorophyll breaks down, it forms carotenoids, which is where we get our yellows, oranges, and reds from. So it's the chlorophyll that makes the leaves green as it breaks down, and we watch the transition go from, say, these yellows, reds, and oranges, eventually, of course, to brown, and then the leaves fall off the trees. And the cycle will repeat in about 4 months. We'll start to see some of those, 5 months, we'll start to see those red buds, and then 6 months from now, we start to really see the green popping back up. Andrew snapped this picture looking toward the Hube Line Tower, lots of color there. And then Sue snapped this picture at the Baltic Reservoir, a nice sunset out there. So the First Alert 7-day forecast does show that things will be breezy tomorrow. Morning showers, you can track them with the free First Alert weather app. We're still breezy on Thursday. Temperatures dipping down into the 50s for highs Thursday and Friday, and especially into and through the weekend. Overnight temperatures eventually falling into the 30s. So we'll have some frosty mornings out there, especially perhaps Monday morning. That could be our best chance for some frost. Shoreline towns in the mid-60s tomorrow, low 60s on Thursday, into the upper 50s Friday, staying in the mid and upper 50s Saturday through Tuesday. Tropical storm Melissa has formed in the Caribbean Sea, and it is expected to gradually move north. Right now, it has sustained winds of 50 miles per hour, still battling some wind shear, but as it gets closer to Jamaica, there should be less shear, so it should start start to strengthen a bit more. Now, the issue here is that it's so slow moving. This is going to bring quite a bit of rain to parts of Jamaica, Cuba, and especially to parts of Haiti. There is unfortunately a very large flash flood risk, as well as the risk for landslides. And as a reminder, the Atlantic hurricane season does go through the end of November, so we still have over a month to go. Today, we are sort of where we might expect to see activity slowly start to wind down. But again, the season continues for a while now. So we'll be watching very closely. We'll be the first to alert you if anything else forms. In the meantime, the big story for us is going to be tracking those showers tonight. And you can join us as we track them in the wax in 20 minutes. And again, on Channel 3 tonight at 11. Join Jill Gilardi tomorrow morning. She will have much more for you. And we are looking ahead to a brighter end to the week and a gorgeous final weekend of October.